Okay, so today we're going to be learning about x to the 3 and 2 to the 3 and 4 to the 3. And we're also going to learn about, what is it? We're going to learn about negative 4 to the 3. And then we're going to learn about negative 4 to the 3. And so, with that in mind, let's get started. So, what we have is x to the 3. How do we say that? X to the 3. We could also say it x cubed. Either way works, it's fine. Just x to the 3 or x cubed. Either way works fine. It still means x to the 3. So, let's get started. What does this mean? I'm sure you're wondering that right now. And here's what it means. What it means is x times x times x. And basically, that's what it means. X multiplied by itself 3 times. So, yeah. That's what it means. So, we've got 2 to the 3, and that is basically 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2. And so basically whenever it's to the power of 3, it means that it's being multiplied by itself 3 times. And so you could be said 2 to the 3, 2 to the power of 3, either way works. So let's get started. 2 times 2 times 2, that's 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is 300. And correct me if I'm wrong, leave a pleasant comment telling me if I am wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but if I am wrong, let me know. And yeah, 4 to the 3, that is 4 times 4 times 4, so that would be 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, so this is a different way of representing multiplication, but it's okay, it works. It's the same thing. And that equals 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 1. Okay, that is the correct answer, 100% correct, completely correct. I'm moving on to the next question. I'm not even going to check my work because I know if I check my work, I'll get the same answer. So, I'm not going to check my work whatsoever. I'm going to move on to the next part. So, 4 to the power of 3. And there's a negative sign there. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that it's the negative of this. So basically, you see there's an invisible parentheses right here. I can put parentheses around each one of these. In fact, I can even put parentheses around the 3 here. Doesn't matter. Because as long as there's parentheses, because basically, like, as long as there's no parentheses around there, there could be a parentheses around it, basically. And so, that's just something to keep in mind. So, just as long as, like, it applies to the number, you gotta know it applies to the number first. This applies to the number first, and then this does. Exponents before signs. That's the way to remember. So, unless there's a parentheses, because then you have, then you got to do. Wait, so I realized that I need to take a step back and explain something. So, what do you evaluate first? You've got different kinds of. You got a negative sign, you got a parentheses, and you got an exponent here. And so, how are we supposed to evaluate that? Well, I'm going to get another marker and show you. So, I believe you evaluate parentheses. Parentheses are first. You evaluate them every time. And then, secondly, you go to exponents. and then you go to signs, which in this case is like plus or minus. Okay, so let's get right to it. Parentheses, in this case, use the blue marker. Parentheses is first, so we basically, okay, so parentheses around itself, no big deal. That doesn't mean anything. So now what do? We just put, I could basically say, if it's just parentheses around one number and nothing else, I mean, I could just say, honestly, that I could just erase the parentheses and call it good. Because that's just how it goes. So I'm just going to erase these parentheses. Now there's no parentheses. And so it's 4 to the power of 3. And, but let's just pretend that there's parentheses here, since we want to, wait, no, actually we're not going to. Okay, so 4 to the power of 3. Basically, it's 4 times 4 times 4, because we evaluate the exponents first and then we evaluate the sign. So basically, this sign is already out there, so it doesn't really matter. We gotta worry about that later. So, because you know that comes third, not second. Second is exponents. We do this part first. So let's do 4 times 4 times 4. Well, we already know that that is 1, right? So we just make that a -1. And there we have it. So that's totally right, totally correct, because this was totally correct. And I'm just basing it off of this answer. I don't need to check my work on this again, since I already know that 4 times 4 times 4 is 1. It's just, yeah. Okay, so now we do this part first. So let me get the red marker, so this is easier. Now we do the parentheses first, right? So that's this, parentheses, which is -4. Now we do the exponents. So the exponents applies to everything in the parentheses, since we did the parentheses first, and this negative sign happened to be inside the parentheses. So parentheses take precedence, and then exponents do. So parentheses said it was inside, so we have to multiply -4 by itself. So that is -4 by -4 by -4. And that also equals -1, since a negative times a negative times a negative is a negative. And these are all the same number except for like the sign difference. So, yeah. And that's about it. Anyway, so thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something. And I'm not very good at math sometimes, but that's okay, because I'm a good teacher, I suppose. I hope I'm a good teacher. Let me know if I'm a good teacher or not. And that's about it. Please leave mention comments below. And here's what we're going to learn about next. We're going to learn about, oops, just made a little mark here. Okay, so we're going to learn about x squared, x to the 1, x to the -1, x to the -2, x to the -3, x to the 0. Okay, so click on one of those videos to see it, and that's about it. Thank you. Goodbye.